All right, today we have a treat because we got double trouble. So this is from R&H Knives, and they were both loaned in from different people. So we've got Joseph, who sent this guy in. This is the Tasca 2 Gen 2. And then we got Kevin, who sent this one in, which is also a Tasca 2 Gen 2, but with different blades and a little bit different configurations. So I figured, why not just video both of them together and we can talk about it. It's a little interesting because this one over here is from October of 2022. And this one here is from January of 2023. Here is the bottom one, details, and the top one. So some of the differences, the specs are going to be basically the same. There's a few little differences, but not enough to really talk too much about. Here is Jan's information, and I'll put a link to his Instagram or website and stuff down below in case you are interested. From the Czech Republic, full-on handmade customs. This one has a standard kind of drop point blade with a DLC coating. And then you've got this newer one with a LMAX Wharncliffe blade. This one is M390 LMAX with just a mirrored bead blasted. It's kind of a mirrored and then blasted finish. Looks really cool. This particular one has a little bit of a stronger detent. So this one actually runs a little bit smoother to me. Fires out with more authority, I guess is a better way to put it. This one, you can Spidey flick it. However, the hole is in a little bit different position if we look at both of them side by side, since we're kind of on the opening method. The hole on the left is just up away from the scale a little more. So it's just easier to get to if that is your preferred method of opening, which it is certainly not mine. But let's take a close-up look at this one. Blade has some fingerprints on it here. Let me see what I can do about that because, well, you know, what are you going to do, right? Oh, much better. So DLC coating is a diamond-like carbon coating. Super hard material. It's usually more scratch resistant than the actual metal that it is coating. But this one gets carried a lot by Joseph. He is in law enforcement, and this one does get used on duty and carried quite a bit. Carbon fiber scales. I just don't even remember the name. He told me the name of what the scales material exactly was, what it was called, but I don't remember. That's okay. Liner locks with the frame, titanium frames that have super crazy, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to show you, milled pockets inside. So there's one, there's a big one back here by the pad of my finger. On both sides, both heavily milled, and it's similar on both knives, okay? So these are CNC machine cut and then hand finished. That edge is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Super thin behind the edge because the edge is so thin to begin with. And it's even thinner and smaller on the Wharncliffe blade. So if we take a look at that one, you can't even really see the edge. It's there. You're at 0.010 because it's just barely there. These things are super cool. And they're rather affordable. When I looked on his website, they're like 7-ish hundred US, but handmade with CNC cutout, which some people kind of poo-poo that. And I've talked about that before, and I will talk about it again on a different video in more detail. But you have to learn how to use the CNC machine. You have to learn how to program. There's a lot of work involved in a CNC application where Same level of skill is required, honestly. So a little difference I'm just now noticing is on the lanyard tube, lanyard loop, if you will. Let's see if I can. So back in 2022 and 2023 here on the bottom. Little interesting differences. So that's what's also cool, is to be able to see them side by side and kind of not dissect them, but just talk about them. Jim Skelton did a fantastic video about a year or so ago. So I would recommend you guys go check that out, because he probably did a better job than me. And it was probably 3 times as long as mine, but that's okay, because Jim really got into a lot more details on his that he had. So let's talk about some specs. 4 5/8 closed, 8 1/8 inches overall. Blade is 3.42 with 3.49 inch cutting edge. Why is the cutting edge longer than the blade? Because how Dirk measures the blade is from the top edge of the scale. Doesn't matter what kind of knife it is. It's the farthest most edge of the scale where Dirk measures the blade length. The edge is, well, the edge is the edge. There's no real arguments about the edge distance, but a lot of people get into some discussions about blade length. Some people are measuring from the center of the pivot because that's the actual blade. Some people are measuring from here. Some people are measuring from here. The way I do it consistently with every knife that I've ever reviewed is from the edge of the scale to the tip of the blade. It doesn't matter what it is or where it is. And if it's got a funky kind of edge to it, I'm searching for something here on the table that has a goofy edge of the scale. It's from this farthest tip to the edge. That's just how I have chosen to do it. And I do it like that consistently with every knife. So there you go. So behind the edge I mentioned is 0.010. On this particular one up here at the front is 0.015. And on the back is 0.010, because there is almost like a tanto here. It kind of comes up and then it curves right there. And it is a little bit different behind the edge thickness. Weighs in at 3.3 ounces. This particular one is 3.4 ounces. So they're a little bit different, but the blade is much different here. You have a little bit more mass there, which actually I kind of like the deployment a little bit better, because it just feels a little more authoritative, if you will. Got some oomph behind it. Okay. Blade thickness. 0.128, 0.136. So a little variations there. Same with the overall thickness, 0.537 and 0.591. That's what you're going to get with custom-made knives. When they're all custom, when they're all CNC'd and then hand-finished, you're going to get some variations. And these were done, months and months apart. So, maybe it's only like 3 months apart. Kind of deceptive when it's in 2003 and 2002, but it was October and January, so really only a few months apart, but still some variations. They run on bearings, and they are custom bearings that Jan makes. He makes the cages, not the actual little balls. I don't know that. I think all makers are buying the bearing balls and only making the cages on their own. So I don't know. I think these are pretty cool. They work well in the pocket, both of them. Do a couple of size comparisons here with a Sharpie. Despicodelica. And how about a couple of the other customs that I brought out? The Red Horse Knife Works Hellraiser. The Skaha from North Arms. The Skaha 2 from North Arms up in Canada. And not a custom, but the Kubi KB237 made overseas. I don't know. I think these are pretty cool. Kevin, thank you for loaning yours in. I think it was great timing. And Joseph, obviously, I appreciate all the stuff you have ever loaned me. I'm more, if I had to pick one, I would pick this guy because it's a little more anodized on the frame. I like the DLC coating. I would like the pivot, or not the pivot, but the detent just a little stronger. This one is more just a blasted titanium frame. And, I don't know. I like them both. Not that I'm going to rush out and buy one because I don't like them that much, but I think they're pretty cool. And let me know your thoughts down below. I would greatly appreciate hearing your thoughts. I think this might be it's absolutely the first R&H video I've done, R&H knives. And I'm not sure if it's the first knife I've done from the Czech Republic. I want to say Alex over at the Watch and Cut channel has loaned me some from the Czech Republic before. I just am drawing a blank on what knives those were, but I'm sure he has. And I'm sure you guys are saying, oh my God, of course he has. And it was this knife, but that's okay. If you remember, let me know down below. If you've made it this far, comment Czech Republic or CR or something along those lines. Check down below, just so I know you listened to me ramble for 11 minutes. Thanks, guys.